video blog for chapter 2 of Tammy Spry's book. It's Writing the Body. My thesis statement is, in performative autoethnography, the body is where communication of language, emotionally and epistemologically shares experience, personal experience of self, yourself, others, and culture. And I wanted to share the quote at the beginning of the chapter by Guillermo Gomez Pena, page 77. He says, "I only write or make art about myself when I am completely sure that the biographical paradigm intersects with larger social and cultural issues." So that is saying that he is talking through not only himself, but through the experience of others and larger social and cultural issues. So the first main idea is that text and body are the praxis of autoethnography. They are the practice and theory of autoethnography, and they are not separate entities. They are interdependent of each other. And Barbara Jago and I don't know who this is, I just put Smith, and other people advocate for rewriting the master narrative that people have of people. So that is through performative autoethnography that you would change the master narrative, which is like the cultural stereotype of a group of people. But we all know that all people are different, and they all have different stories. So then we go on to saying body is the cultural billboard, advertising effects of selves, others, and culture, which I thought was really cool, saying that it was a cultural billboard. It's saying that we embody culture, our culture, and our personal experience. And there's no way to separate ourselves from that. And the way that we show that, as Ann Cooper Albright says on page 95, in performance, audience is forced to deal with history of that body in conjunction with history of their own bodies, which you're sharing your experience and connecting their experience to yours. And that is another important part about performative autoethnography, is the communication. Another main idea is that the autoethnographic space has opportunity for intimate self-revelation and evolution about how learned injustices affect behavior. So learned injustices being the power structure and hierarchy, the authoritative people making this illusion of reality, as they talk about. I think it's Gingrich Philbrook who talks about it, about how authoritative people make the illusion of reality into their own. And we talk about whether or not that is actually your reality or what this society wants you to believe. So that is what it talks about. And then we talk about how personal experience makes you continually skeptical because of this, and question what experience means, which is what performative autoethnography questions and talks about, and ultimately answers its own question through the performance itself. So how do we do this? We write performative autoethnography. We develop the relationship with language and the awareness of what it implicates. So what that means is you have to, your words illustrate your view of values and beliefs of yourself, and your values, or your view of self, others, and culture with your values and beliefs. and you have to embody your language, that you're putting your body, which is the text, on paper, that these are your text and body, like I said before, are praxis. Their words and body inseparable, their body into being. Excuse me. So performance autoethnography, there's a lot of things that it's described as, but Tammy Spry compilates a lot of what they've said and puts it as embodied, evocative, consequential, and co-performed. So embodied, we've talked about. Evocative, that means that it evokes these certain emotions. Consequential doesn't necessarily mean negatively, but that there is always going to be a certain reaction to this interaction. And then co-performed means that there is both the audience and the person performing are being together and have their thoughts together. So aesthetics, that's the demand to create art. And then it's also the art, the writing process that we've talked about. And then epistemics, our desire to create knowledge, and the articulation of knowledge. So these are interdependent and are the ethic of answerability. So aesthetic crafting of language, ethically imperative, which means movement of embodied art within performative I disposition. So yeah, that's really, there's a lot of kind of repetition in what she says. So my questions for class are, what are examples of moral discourse, which is what we were told what performative autoethnography is. And then my second question is, how does someone know when they are successfully embodying language?